The Chiefs have made some drastic changes in the secondary, along with Brian Cook being signed by the Cincinnati Bengals, and they bring in a different type of player, someone that can live a little bit more on the back end, truly as a free safety. Former Chargers and Baltimore Ravens safety Alohi Gilman, who is going to offer more true flexibility, positional alignment, schematic changes, things that really Spags wants to be able to do, because as good as I think Brian Cook played last year and he was able to get that contract in Cincinnati, you get a lot more, I think, schematic freedom with an Alohi Gilman in the back end. He's a little bit cheaper. Yes, he comes with a little bit more, I guess, baggage, quote unquote, as you would say, in terms of some of the same knocks on injuries that Brian Cook suffered over the course of his career. But this is what we're going to see in Kansas City going forward with Alohi Gilman. And we're going to talk all about him today on RGR Football. I dove into his tape, not only just the run game stuff, as well as the back end ability, the versatility, the freedom that he's going to allow the Chiefs defensive coordinator to play with. I really think this is going to be an interesting signing, and it could go a couple of different ways, but we're going to dive into the tape here. If you guys are new to the channel, please hit that sub button right now, become a member here at Rogue Nation, and hit that like while we're watching some tape on Alohi Gilman. It really helps out the channel, and we would appreciate it a lot for you guys. My name is Daniel Harms, senior film analyst, and today, like I said, all about Alohi Gilman in the back end. One of the things that jumps off the tape for me is the communication skills that he possesses. As soon as we see Caleb Williams at the line of scrimmage changing plays, he's the one lining everybody up, telling them what they're going to be doing, making the changes within the secondary, and getting all of the pieces lined up properly. So again, this is really where I like to see secondary members. And yes, it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve coming into Spags' system, but going from Jesse Minter to Zach Orr, we know these are two very high level schematic changes, movement in the back end, defenses that you need to have communication and understand responsibility. So that's really the number one thing that pops off the tape when I'm watching him. And then again, you have the ability to play in a multitude of different roles. Right here, you look up at the front for the Ravens, and everybody's lined up right here, basically, right? You got one here, one in the back end, one on the opposite side, but everyone is mugged up. We don't really know who's going to be blitzing, who's going to be dropping into coverage, and then they rotate into that cover three shell from all the way down here. So you got Gilman coming out here. Really, I mean, it's kind of like man match on the outside here with Wiggins, but it's a cover three shell. You're going to have rotation down, rotation down, rotation down to the middle here. And then with number 3 at the top of your screen, turning towards the receiver, maybe that's locked on that side as man coverage. So it's more zone everywhere else. And you have a lock up here at the top of your screen. We do see that from time to time as well. But again, you're able to get Gilman into the middle of the field to take away the middle parts of the field, the deeper ends, and then you're able to blitz wherever else you want to. You also have a late dropper here. Number 45 comes around there. Number 52 drops late, and the Bengals only really have one place to go with it because everywhere else really is taken up. You've got max protect everywhere else for the Bengals, right? You've got protection here. You got 3 receivers out in a route, but the predominant factor here that I'm taking out is that you can do a lot of different things with Gilman, from aligning him down in the box. He's very willing to go down there, play against the run, as we're going to see here in a second, but also the rotations. He has the speed and ability to get back quick enough, right, to change that picture post snap. And the really, really good quarterbacks like Joe Burrow are going to identify where is best to go with the football. But again, it forces a low percentage throw on the outside, which ends up getting knocked away and incomplete. So when you're able to do that in the back end and you have the range to really do that, that's not something you're going to see Brian Cook doing in Cincinnati. He didn't do that in Kansas City either, where you could have him align on the line of scrimmage and drop him back into a deep third middle of the field. That's just not what he was able to do. So I really appreciate the versatility there. But then again, in the run game, really from dropping down based on motions and everything like that, you're going to motion Puka Nacua into a blocking formation here, and that's where you're going to get Gilman dropping down to understand that he has to fill there. Okay, they bump down, boom, he goes down to the line of scrimmage. He comes in, takes on the block, disengages, and helps make the tackle. This is, I think, where he becomes a very unique piece, because The big I think the biggest quote unquote weakness of him is the missed tackles. 12 missed tackles last year. Um, Tied for 43rd in the NFL. Wasn't a great, and if you're looking at Brian Cook, a direct correlation is Brian Cook is a better box safety. He only missed 4 tackles last year, and I think it was his best tackling season of his career. And so when you compare that directly to Alohi Gilman, you're going to see a drop off in that type of production. But on the opposite end, you're seeing an uptick in passes defense. He had 9 passes defense last year when he was targeted in coverage. That's just not something Brian Cook is going to give you. So maybe you end up trading off some missed tackles for more pass breakups and more versatility in the back end. Like I said, we're going to get into more of that on the defensive side. But again, here he comes in, takes on that block. And one of the things I constantly appreciate is that he does a really nice job of extending what length he does have and finding the football. So he extends, he sheds, and then he goes and gets the ball carrier. You don't really see him lose the ball carrier very much. And we're going to get into some of the nuances with his eyes and discipline here in a minute. And then we're going to get into going from his communication, his versatility, from rotating down, rotating back, to what he provides as a ability to play in the box, right? Spags ideally wants to play with 3 safeties, right? That's what he really wants to get to for most of his tricks, right? That's where he wants to live from. But this is what Gilman's going to give you. And I've seen a lot of Ravens fans, while they did not appreciate a lot of the missed tackles, no one really likes missed tackles. He had far less than Shamari Connor did last year, but he allowed Kyle Hamilton to be Kyle Hamilton and play wherever he needed to, that star position, that role where he's able to move around, play in the slot, play down in the box, rotate back. And Gilman, while he comes down in the box, he can play on top of the defense, as we are going to see. But he comes downhill here. Marlon Humphrey kicks down, and then he takes on the block. Like I talked about with his eyes in the backfield and his ability to extend, he locates his hands very well inside blockers, not just wide receivers, but tight ends when he's coming down. That's mostly what he's going to face when he's in the box. He's not going to really face up against offensive linemen. But this is really, I think, where he makes his money as a run defender, because yes, you don't really want him in pursuit against faster receivers, which we're going to see here, and players, which we're going to see here in a minute. This is really where he does his best work, consistently stacking and shedding. I shared a clip on Twitter of him doing the exact same thing, where he fills downhill and he gets his hands consistently up. This is what I'm talking about, where you get hands inside the chest of the blocker and you extend. You make it easier for you to find the football, and that's where you see, again, eyes here, knows he's going to come out this way, so he does a nice job of pushing that block inside and extending, right? You see that extension with the hands, and he's able to get off and right onto Samaje Perine to help prevent a touchdown here. Now, stopping power as a tackler, not really in his skill set, right? He's more of a flow with the player and really identifies, kind of wrap up and kind of fall down, right? He will come downhill, throw his shoulder around a little bit, be off balance as a tackler. But one thing that you're going to notice is that he does a nice job recognizing fill lanes, getting to them, and then moving with the player. So again, Samaje Perine in space. Gilman's going to come down. One, he doesn't have pretty much any idea, or excuse me, any care in the world about this guy coming to block him. He knows it's coming here, but he's got eyes on the running back and really good spatial awareness. So he sees, I'm filling to this lane here. Roquan Smith is coming down at this angle, which means the running back is going to pop around this block here. So he moves with it and gets into space and helps make the tackle there. Really, these last 2 plays are where he's at his best, filling lanes downhill as a run defender, and then being on blocks down close against wide receivers and tight ends, where he's able to make plays happen like that. So that's really, again, where he's going to give you a lot more, I think, from his size and skill set, right? Brian Cook, we know, is a bigger, heftier, sturdier, more downhill type player. But when we look at the versatility that an Alohi Gilman's going to bring your defense, what is he bringing as a tackler? Yes, you have a drop off in what he's able to do from making real true stopping power plays. But all in all, we are talking about a player that can do much more on the back end and brings a little bit different. This is where he struggles, okay? We're going to watch 2 plays here where this is where he does struggle in space and why he struggles in space. So you see he's moving back at the snap of the ball, and then the Dolphins are going to run this out to the boundary. And then the pursuit angles are one of the biggest issues against speed players. Okay, let's make a commonality here. Something that you I see on his tape a lot more is, yes, he's got to fill downhill, but and then he has to bounce outside, right? Because there's a lot of space out there. So initially he's coming towards the line of scrimmage and he has to make a play, but he also has to read. When he has to hesitate in space a little bit, that's really where he comes and gets beat on angles. Now he's lucky that Devon Achane did not just go around him and he was able to get hands on him. But in space, right, when you come up against a player like a Devon Achane who's really shifty and can use those hesitation tools, like right here, he's just going to make him believe he can come cut back across his face, and then he's just going to go this way. And then you're going to see the small hesitation, right? Those are the things that he does not do well in space. It's hard for him to just mirror match and stop. And specifically, like I said, against receivers and running backs that are very quick in space, yes, he was able to make the tackle right there, luckily, but his length is not like Kyle Hamilton. It's not, I don't even know if it's as Brian Cook, but maybe it's closer to that of a player like a Brian Cook, where you do need to do a better job of driving through tackles and taking, I think, more aggressive outside angles, forcing those running backs and receivers back to the inside to help, right? That's what we see a lot. If you're constantly having to come downhill, but you're getting beat outside, why are you getting beat outside? It's because your angles, your tackling angles, your pursuit angles are poor. So here, again, we got a screen, really easy screen to DJ Moore. And instead of attacking that outside shoulder, right, and driving DJ Moore back inside, which is what you really want to do, right? You want to drive him back to your help defense. He attacks the underneath shoulder, and that hesitation move that we're going to see from DJ Moore here in a second does the exact same. It's not even like hugely hesitation, he just kind of uses his hand to create space, and then he misses the tackle. It's 3rd and 10. It becomes a first down because of the pursuit angle here. Just when you stop in space like that, you create angles and better opportunities for these really good athletes to get into space and create arm tackles. And that's, I think, where the biggest differentiating factor between Brian Cook as a tackler and Alohi Gilman comes. But when he comes downhill and he actually like stays square and maintains that ability with running backs, with receivers, ball carriers like that, he does a very good job of tackling. So I've seen like the concerns about missed tackles. I think that going into this defense, he's probably not going to be asked to do a ton, but again, he's going to have to be that safety valve. And I do think that he offers enough in that regard to be a true safety valve type player. As long as, he keeps those angles better, those details from Dave Merritt and Steve Spagnuolo really do hunker down. Now we're going to talk about his ability as a pass protector or a pass defender, right? What does he bring? Well, we talk about multiplicity in the back end here. You got too high look. They are going to rotate this down. Malachi Starks comes up, and then he's going to rotate down, giving that cover 3 look where you have the underneath defender from Alohi Gilman. And this is, I think, where he makes a lot of money. And again, we're not talking about this being a great explosive, pass breakup or anything like that, but it shows you the ability that he has to come down as a robber type player and play underneath and recognize those routes, right? So you see a little bit of a pick here coming from DJ Moore. Both of these players recognize it in Nate Wiggins as well as Alohi Gilman. One goes under, one goes above that pick block right there. And then they're right there on the football, on the throw. So I appreciate the eyes that he has, right? The ability to read and react to the quarterback where he's going. Sometimes that will get you out leveraged as a safety. So being able to read, the arm angles and where they're going to go with the football, on top of having that route recognition and quickly being able to see DJ Moore's coming at me, right? So I want to get around underneath that block, be able to make things happen. So just being able, from a top-down perspective, right? How is he impacting the play? He does see those routes coming up over the middle of the field well, and I think that he triggers downhill quickly in those situations. he's got multiple pass breakups doing exactly that, triggering more on tight ends and players to the flat. But overall, a really good sense of where the football is going and identifying downhill ability to be able to get there. So when I was talking earlier about we're going to see his sense of direction, right? The eyes that he plays with and how he can adjust. This is the play that I was talking about. This is maybe one of my favorite things that I watched on tape from Alohi Gilman. And you're going to see how all of it plays into it's quick, right? Yeah, he's just got tight end in the flat, but he does 3 separate things in this little play alone. So Bengals are going to bring out, okay, we got jet motion. We're also going to give you a play action fake, right? So what are 2 things you have to do? First, when it's a play action motion, you have to see where the football is. So where are my eyes going? They go directly in the backfield to the mesh point. There's the first. Here's the first one. Okay, so the play is the opposite way. My apologies. But again, eyes are smart. You've got one player from the Bengals that are riding up underneath, right? So he's going to make Alohi Gilman feel the route. So he has to feel that route through. Now he's going to recognize Joe Burrow's coming out this way. And then there's going to be number 89 coming across here. So you've got two ways that you have to defend, right? Eyes from Gilman here first, right? And then he sees right here. Number 40, I can trust you're going to get that. I also know that this safety is here. So he notices that number 40 is backing up as well. So he's going to flip around, flip those hips, and continue on and recognize, okay, I need to go to the flat. Takes that throw away completely from an easy first down conversion on second down. That's how smart you have to be able to process that quickly, right? We have the jet sweep. We have the play action fake. We have that receiver coming in front of me, trying to really turn me around so that I don't hit the flat defender or the flat receiver. So all of that happens within the span of a few seconds, and he does a really nice job of feeling it, identifying, and seeing the route concept unfold. He takes that away. Joe Burrow's got to throw it in the dirt because it's over there. That is the kind of athleticism, versatility, and then eyes. I think the eyes are one of the most important things for safeties because you have to be able to process information, not just from where you are and closer to the box, but from up top, right? You have to see route concepts. You have to see play action fakes. You have to see run concepts. All of those things locate the football. And I think that he does an excellent job of locating the football, but giving you a multitude of different ways that you can line him up. You know, we've already seen him be a true box defender. We've kind of seen him in the slot there that we just saw moving those tight ends, moving with those tight ends, right? And then you have him down here, kind of an off coverage, and he's going to rotate back into more of a cover 4 shell. So again, when you have safeties, corners moving back this way, kind of closer to that cover 4 shell, but he's going to read the eyes of Drake May, and then he picks up that receiver late. Obviously, sometimes receivers are going to come down with the football, but you've got up at the top of your screen, Diggs is running just a really deep over route, right? Dagger concept, which is essentially, but these are just more deep crossers, right? You have both of them crossing the middle of the field with one receiver in Kayshon Boutte, who is taking the top, right? He's going to try to make those safeties go with him. And then you have deep crossers here and here. You want to be able to make those safeties uncomfortable with the speed threat down the field, but it is a longer developing play. So you do have to trust your offensive line to get the job done. And this is, again, where you see Alohi Gilman backing up. One, he recognizes, okay, receiver is going that way. I have help over here. And then also you have a back end communicator there saying, look, we're passing off. He's coming this way, right? So you need to now adjust your angle and go after that receiver. Maybe a touch late on the recognition there, maybe a touch late, but he also has to worry about carrying that receiver deep enough. But overall, right, he gets to the catch point, which is the most important part. And most of the time, I would say 8 out of 10 times, he's breaking that pass up. And he always attacks the football when he makes contact at the catch point. He's looking with his hands. He's chops down, right? You see right there. He takes that left hand and he tries to really punch up through the football. Every now and then, a receiver is just going to come down with it. So that is something that I don't believe Brian Cook makes that play. I don't think he even gets there personally from that angle. It's not really a skill set that he's got. So again, making it that catch point, right? He does try to attack it, Stefan Diggs just does a really nice job of coming down with it. He couldn't believe that he was able to do that. So and now we have Gilman again lined up more as a almost like a pseudo linebacker here, where he's up closer to the line of scrimmage on that second level, and then he's going to get out into space, right? Take away an option. These kind of plays that don't show up in the stat sheet matter. So you have him coming closer to the line of scrimmage right here, really quickly. The Bears are going to show another play action fake here. They had a little bit of motion out and in, and they're just going to run this little like circle or this little arc route where he's going out. And this is again a really nice job of recognizing that they're going to boot him out. And as we all know, for the most part, when you have a quarterback booting one direction of the field, it cuts it in half. Caleb Williams is a little bit different, right? Patrick Mahomes is a little bit different. They can typically throw the football across their body to the opposite side, but the play design is for one player. You're trying to attack that corner in off coverage, and he does a great job of recognizing it and getting out underneath the play, right there. He gets out. There's no throw here for him, and he does an excellent job of feeling that route, feeling that space to get into, and he takes away a throw, allowing his pass rush to get to Caleb Williams, and then it creates an incomplete pass. Those kind of things, those little details, right? How quickly he's able to get out there, recognize that play is happening, and get into space to take away a throw and make that happen is very unique, and that's why we're talking about the versatility, right? Play on the top a little bit. He can play a little bit of man coverage. He can rotate up and down and around. And then he has some questions in his true free safety range. Now, DK Metcalf is going to catch this football down the right-hand sideline. You see, I think he has the range to get there, but the angle is a touch wrong, right? So he's already going back to his left or his right, excuse me. So he's angling back towards his right because that's the nature of the play, right? You have one player on the opposite side. So you typically have to get back towards your right to get back to the middle of the field. As soon as Aaron Rodgers kind of sees that that's the angle that Gilman is going to take, he just kind of stops. I don't really know why he doesn't just chuck it away, but it doesn't really matter because the angle right here. So he's going this way. You want to be a little bit more this way because again, speed receivers, those angles, he's got to have a better idea of exactly where to go. I'm not saying that he doesn't have any range because I think we can see right here, he just adjusts the angle that he's taking a little bit too late. And then we end up seeing a completed pass down the right-hand sideline. So I think this attributes back to what we talked about with the angles in the run game, where you can take a poor angle here, a poor angle there, and it creates a missed tackle. Every now and then in the back end, he can take a poor angle towards the football, and he's having to adjust while he's running that way. And again, this is still a very slim margin of error, 40 plus yards down the field on a line. But those are the details, right? Those are the small things that I think that he needs to continue to work on. I'm a former sixth round pick. I'm not asking that he's going to be out here being, a true. I mean, I don't even really know a player that we can. Now, I'm not asking him to be everywhere on the field all the time, right? I'm not asking him to go from the middle all the way to the end zone and stuff like that. We want to see, just the versatility that he brings and just continue to work on those small details. If you fix those little details in his game, I really think we're talking about a player that gives the defense more freedom. And that's something that I'm really excited about. This is a little bit of quarter, half from the from the Baltimore Ravens. So what that means is you got quarter, and then Gilman was responsible for a half. So if you take two high safeties, and they typically have two back ends of the field, you're now cutting one of those in half and giving it to a corner. But at the top of your screen, you've got one-on-one coverage with Justin Jefferson, who is going to run basically just in the middle of the end zone. And eyes from JJ McCarthy this way. But again, you've got quarter over here. So we can just keep that. We can keep that over and keep getting this depth right here. So you show cover 2 on this side, right? Which means you've got the space out here and an underneath defender. And then you're trying to fit a throw over two underneath, really on one underneath player. And JJ McCarthy throws it over in between the linebacker and that other corner. and right to the mark for Justin Jefferson, which should have been a touchdown, but Alohi Gilman recognizes it. He's got that part of the field, and he drives on the throw, drives on the player. Really nice job of while he's still bit on that outside fake, he recovers, right? He sinks his hips. Just watch him this way. Watch what he does. So he's back out here. Justin Jefferson comes out at the top of his route, gives a little bit of a fake this way, and he comes back over the middle of the field, and watch the hips from Alohi Gilman, right? He stops and he sinks his hips and he still drives and he breaks out of that, right? Bryan Cook can't do that. That's not his game. He would have given up a touchdown in this position. So I'm not trying to say that the Chiefs got a ton better from a pure safety perspective in one-on-one because they're different players. They offer you different skill sets. And the thing I'm talking about with Gilman here is that he's more multiple on the back end. He gives you a wider menu of coverages that you can work through, which allows Steve Spagnuolo to be more creative in the pressure designs and the ways that he gets one-on-one coverages. So the big detail here for me is that watching all of Alohi Gilman's tape that I've watched, seeing the different things that he can do, contractually, it's cheaper than Bryan Cook. He is not the tackler. He's not the box safety player that he is. He's a better athlete. He's more multiple, again, which allows you to do more from a top-down perspective. I think he's also got better instincts and route recognition than Bryan Cook has. I think that the upside of this play, of this pick, this free agent acquisition, gives you more from a defensive perspective than Bryan Cook does. Now, you can bring in a player like Bryan Cook or, keep allowing Jaden Hicks to grow and then bring in another safety, and you can get into those three safety sets that Steve Spagnuolo wants to be in, and Dave Merritt and him have done an excellent job of doing, and have the communication, the top-down ability that Gilman provides you in that versatility, and also you can move him down, right, and play other players up at the top as well, because he's not afraid to come down and be a guy who takes on blocks from tight ends and wide receivers and still give you something in the run game. Yes, angles, I think, are the biggest issue with Alohi Gilman. And from what I've watched, it's not so much speed. It's not so much the unwillingness to tackle. It's the angles that he takes in that regard. So you might see a little bit more missed tackles on the back end from him when he's going specifically outward towards the sidelines a little bit. But overall, I think he's going to give you more from a pass breakup perspective and a natural coverage instinct ability that Bryan Cook just doesn't have. So I do believe this free agent signing can pay off in a lot more ways than Bryan Cook will in Cincinnati. At the end of the day, we're going to find out what he does. Again, I think he did a really nice job in Kansas City last year, was his best football, but I don't believe that ability that he has is more valuable than what you're getting with Alohi Gilman and at the contract number that he got. So I think this is a very good signing. Again, we'll see what happens with some of the injury history as well as the missed tackles. Hopefully they just get cleaned up a little bit in Kansas City. But I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown of Alohi Gilman. He will be a starting safety on the back end. Hopefully he allows Jaden Hicks to flow underneath and be a better overall player than he has been in the past. And hopefully he can take that next step and we see Gilman grow as well in Steve Spagnuolo's defense. You guys, thank you so much for being here. If you are new to the channel, please hit that sub button right now. Hit that like on the way out. Help us get out to more Chiefs fans. We'll have more content for you guys throughout free agency. Please join us every Monday for those Q&As, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.